Hello and welcome to Yoe Plays, Nights into Dreams, Episode 1. In today's video, we're going to do Clarice's first episode and her second episode. And the purpose of this video is for me to tell you about my history with video games, and this is the first one I'm going to do. Nights into Dreams is a Sega Saturn classic. I believe I got 2 copies of it one year. I got one as a free promotion, and one came with a Saturn analog stick. The Saturn analog stick was a great controller. Not the greatest controller, but one of the greatest controllers. Now I'm going to tell you about Nights. I'm going to tell you how to play Nights, how I played Nights, the things I liked about it, the things I kind of didn't like about it, and just talk about the history of video games through video games. Nights into Dreams is probably, I'd say, probably my top 5 Sega Saturn games. It's probably one of the ones I played the most. It's just a different type of game. It's made by Sonic Team, so you know it's going to be like Sonic the Hedgehog, but it's nothing like Sonic the Hedgehog. It's just something out of this world. The purpose of, the idea of Nights is you fly around and you try to collect these orbs. Once you get 20 of those orbs, you try to bring them to a capture. The idea capture, what it does is kind of the cage on your dreams, and you need to break that cage to get out and get your way to the end of your nightmare. You start out as a little girl and you climb into Nights. Nights kind of lives in your dreams and kind of gives you the positive feelings you need and the positive attitude to succeed, to get through your struggles, to face your nightmares and be the best you can be. And that's a pretty positive message for a video game. More positive than, say, Pac-Man, who says eat drugs and eat ghosts, but eating ghosts is a fun thing to do. With Nights, the weird thing with Nights is you kind of fly around. It doesn't look like anything. You're a clown, you're a jester, you're something. It just really looks like a kiddish game. It looks like a girly, kiddish game. And I can see why someone would think that. I'm going to try to explain a bit of what's going on here. For anyone that doesn't know anything about Nights, which is probably a lot of people, unless you're watching this looking for Nights, and you probably do. With Nights, you get those 20 orbs and you bring them to the capture. Once you bring them to the capture explodes. You then have the rest of the time limit, which is 2 minutes for the full stage, to get as many points as you can. You get points by collecting orbs, going through rings, collecting stars. Basically anything you can do within the stage, you can do within the 2 minutes to get your score as high as possible. At the end of the section, you're given a grade. So at this point, we got grade A, which is the highest score you can get. But you can get higher scores, just not higher grades. Every stage or chapter is, it comes to you, there's 4 parts, so you played 4 stages, and then a boss, and it probably takes you 2 minutes per stage, so no more than 10 minutes really to beat each level. It's really not that long of a game. The whole purpose really, or point, is to get the highest score you can get in the allotted time period. So you want to get the best score you can possibly get. So you want to collect things. So you got to capture there, 20. And now we're in bonus time. Bonus time begins, so now we get more points for everything we do. So now is the time to really go for it. So you want to get that capture as quickly as you can, just to get your bonus points. The higher your link chain, the more points you get. There's some stages you can get that chain going, pretty much the whole stage. Get your chain going, in the hundreds, I guess. I think I've got it in the 90s before. I may have gotten them in the hundreds, but it really would have been a while ago. You're not going to see that with me playing this right now. Just kind of go around. I know that you have 2 minutes per stage, which really is a lot of time. A lot of these stages you can kind of go do a full loop in 15-20 seconds. That one I ended 50 seconds early. Really, if I was going for a high score, I'd probably just restart my whole stage. It was a killer. There's no need of doing it, but we did it anyway. What we see there is, look at that. You can only fly in 2D. When you're flying in 2D, you can't go in and out of the stage. But sometimes there'll be orbs or something in the background that you want to get. If you do a loop-to-loop, you can suck in things from the background, and the things sucks in things around it. So when you're sucking those things in, that's what she said, what you do is you just get more points, but it kind of keeps your rhythm going and builds up your link, and they follow you too. So if you need to get a little bit of a gap, you can kind of get them to stretch out behind you. And if you can finish your loop with them behind you, you're going to keep your link going and get more points. But yeah, the whole purpose of the game, I guess, is to just get a high score. In today's day and age, just getting a high score really doesn't cut it. Playing a game that you're flying clown in circles, the ribbon behind it doesn't going to get it. you know, the game doesn't really meet the world of today's criteria of what a good game is. But at the same time, it's a fucking great game. So, I mean, people should give it a shot. If you're into, like, you know, Mario type games, or even like any type of game, I mean, you can't die in it. So it's not like, you know, there's a struggle of how do I beat the game. Sometimes the bosses, you know, you can run out of time fighting the bosses. But, I mean, once you figure them out, they're pretty easy. It's a fun game. You know, you can put it on for an hour, put it on for 2 hours, just have some time to kill. It's just really interesting thing. And, I mean, even to the point, they released a demo of the game called Christmas Nights. And we're going to see that a little bit later in the series. And in the Christmas Nights, the game kind of changes based on the holiday or based on the time of year. So, like, during the winter, it's snowy on the ground. And, you know, on Valentine's Day, there might be, like, more hearts and stuff floating around. It's just a really interesting concept. And it was just released as a demo. And it's honestly, you know, it's a great idea of just, you know, every game should kind of just change with the years. I mean, especially if it's just background stuff. The core gameplay doesn't change at all with the background. It just changes when the gameplay changes. So it's not like you're going to do anything stupid or anything. It just kind of make the game more interesting. I kind of wish this game had it all the time, or when they brought it over, it just kind of did it. It would really, you know, just add to the idea of what the game is and give you more ideas on, you know, what the dream would be. Not every dream is the same, and it's just a matter of changing the paint, then change the paint. Now this stage, you notice I've been getting higher links, like 20 links. They're pretty good links, but still not as good as they could be. Now let's talk a bit about the screen. You know, if you talk in the left-hand corner, there's a lot on it, but at the same time, it's not telling you that much. We have the blue orbs. That's your count of your orbs. Again, you want to get them as many of them as you can while you're beating the stage after you get the capture. Well, and before the capture, I guess. The middle of that's your time limit. Again, that starts at 120, so that's 2 minutes. And, you know, it just counts down, and you just got to do what you can. When you're hitting the enemies are all weird looking. They give you strange things. You know, you lose time. Sometimes you get shrunk. Sometimes they just slow you down. You know, they just pin you there. And it's just, again, it just makes it so you can't get as many points. When you lose your time, you know, sometimes you're a little bit further away from the end, and you don't just have, you know, the time to get there. So, you know, you kind of got to watch out occasionally. You know, as long as you have enough time to get back, you're fine. But if you don't, then, you know, you're screwed. So again, just back to the end, and then we'll talk about the rest. So now we're going into the first boss. So I don't even feel like I've had time to tell you about the whole game yet, and we're in the first boss. So this boss is a great boss. There's two ways of killing him. The first way, and the most common way, is to just grab him by the head and kind of smash it off the ground. Like all lizards, it can regrow its head. I mean, that's just science fact. If you can't grow your head, then what can you do? You know, the other way of killing it, and you can do this in one good hit, is you can get behind it, you can kind of circle its tail in a perfect circle, and once the tail's circled, it kills him, and you beat the boss. You can beat him in, you know, probably 15-20 seconds. You know, I didn't do that for the video. That was going to be a time. You know, try it out. If I got lucky, I would do it right away, but it's just not what I did. So this boss, you know, it's one of the great bosses. This game, I'd say all the bosses are pretty good. They all look different, and we're going to see how your overall points go. We didn't get any points for fighting the boss, but you get a multiplier based on how fast you beat him. So we had 38 seconds left, and we get 0.3. Not even 38 seconds, it's 68 seconds. My bad. Yeah, so we get a 0.3 multiplier. So our score is a new record, A rank. Of course, it's a new record, first time we ever played it. But yeah, that was Spring Valley. You know, pretty good stage, pretty good opener. There's a lot to it, you know. And then we're going to go to our next stage, which is, again, going to be a little bit more difficult, take a little bit more time. It has a better boss, in my opinion. You know, it's a harder boss. It's an easier boss. There's no hard or easy in the game. It's all relative to what you're doing. And I usually don't have any idea what I'm doing. But again, so let's go. We're gonna pop back and forth. Let's go to Clarise stage 2. I was thinking about Elliot stage 1, but I decided on Clarise stage 2 just because. Why not get her story going? I know how interested everybody is in the Mystic Forest. So again, we start out as Clarise. These Nightmarians are gonna come grab us. Those yellow guys, look at them flying around. Now these graphics are strange, I know that. The ground is kind of bouncy. It looks odd. It looks like you're in a nightmare. It looks like you're in a dream. So the one last thing about the screen I'm going to show you is the bottom left hand corner. You'll see there's a green bar. in that bar, that's your speed burst or turbo boost. Every time you swirl, you use some of that, and every time you grab an orb, you refill it. The one good part about this fucking game is, you know, sometimes you have lots of speed burst, sometimes you don't. It's a matter of, you know, maintaining what you're doing. So let's talk about more of it. So now I don't have enough to get the capture. I shouldn't have hit it. So we're gonna keep going around. You know, the whole gameplay purpose is you fly around and get those orbs. Every time you pass the opening goal, or the opening, that's also the end. And the whole stage resets. So when you do a loop, it resets every time you do the loop. So you want to get through it sometimes as fast as you can, especially before you have the capture. No, I missed the capture there. I'm just going to keep going through though and see what else we can get. We're just going to get as many orbs as we can. We're going to get a low score on this one. But I just want to give you an idea of when you miss the capture. You know, you have two ways to go, and either going right back and having nothing come back, or just blasting through it. It probably could have went back there. It would have been faster. But I got more orbs. I got a good start. It's just, you know, sometimes you just got to figure out what's going to be the best for you. And I think, honestly, getting the capture should have been my priority there. You know, every time you get this orange ball, the orange ball is just kind of, if you get your link to be as high as that number, you kind of get a present dropped on you, you get a few more points. It's just a 2 times multiplier, I think, but I mean, 2 times is pretty good. But you don't always get it, and it's not worth going back for, I don't think. But sometimes it is. If, you know, if there's a big chain and you know you're going to get it. But I really never go back for them. I don't really go back for much, unless it's like a lot of those blue orbs or yellow orbs after the double bonus. You know, those Nightmarians in the background, those little flying Cupid-looking things, they come in the eggs. If you look on the ground, sometimes you'll see eggs. I'm probably not going to show you any right now. But if you look on the ground, there's eggs, and you hatch them, and they come out. And as you play the game, you fly by them. They kind of, you know, they start liking you more. And if you do circles around them, you make this swirl, they kind of don't like you. It kind of, you know, messes them up. And it's kind of like this whole meta game in the background of keeping your Nightmarians happy, unlocking them all, having them walk around. And there's an option in the menu that you can go through that'll show you, you know, how they all are. And you can get them all happy or stuff. It doesn't really affect the game, but I think the music gets a bit happier. They seem to be more action, so it'll be like, you know, if you're in a fish tank and the fish are all lazy, it kind of isn't that exciting. But when you have excited fish, it's kind of, oh, look at all them go. So it's just kind of, you know, you watch it go, you watch it go, you watch it go. And you just see what happens. But, you know, they're around, and sometimes there's Nightmarians, so they're the bad guys, and you kill them, they don't like it either. But I think the good guys, they like it when you kill the bad guys. So there's just more happening, and, you know, we're probably not going to see it in the band, but we'll keep an eye on it as we progress through the game, and we'll see if we notice anything with them. But I doubt we will. You know, this one had, you know, about half the time left to get through it, and we're just going to keep going. Those cages, they're not in every stage, but you can sometimes see them again, where the game is 3D and you're moving in 2D. Sometimes things are visible, and they're not always clear what you can do with them, but later you will see that you can get those blue cages, and you'll get the big orbs. There's 4 different sections of the stage. I think, you know, a lot of people also are turned off by the fact that you can only fly left and right in this game, well, left, right, up, and down, but you can't go in and out. I think that the game would lose a lot of its luster, the same way Sonic did when you kind of could run in 3D. The game had to change a bit, and it was no longer, you know, as fast. It wasn't as platformy, because when you're going fast in 3D, it's a lot harder than fast in 2D. So you're trying to get a high score here. I think the 3D would make the game a lot different game, and I think it would just lose everything that makes this what it is, and just turn it into probably a very mediocre game. You know, when you're going around this thing, you see those little orange things. They're little paddles you can hit, and they ding, and you usually get stars or some reward for hitting them. And if you hit all of them or a lot of them, the reward will usually get bigger. It's really, you know, I don't know the full details. There's still always a lot of mystery. Just weird things happen when you're playing the game. But as you go through, you start noticing more things. Some of the worlds, they're not always like this. They're not always left and right flying around. Sometimes they go behind view, sometimes they go over view. It really comes down to what kind of view you want, or, you know, what stage you want. It's never as easy as this. The stages aren't always so small. There are actually some worlds that you can get through, you know, only once in the 2 minutes. I mean, twice if you're fast and you know what you're doing. But there's some that I've never gone 3 times around before. And that seems weird in the game when, you know, the first stage you can go through probably 20 times. No problem. You know, if you go fast enough, maybe problem. Maybe let's go 10 times. But not being able to go 3. seems like a lot of, you know, you got to really manage yourself. So I go through it once, I go back, then I go halfway, and then I just turn back and I quit. One of the tricks on this one is when you have the little yellow strip behind you, I can't even think, this is not going to go well. But no, when you have the yellow thing behind you, your goal is to get as many tricks as you can. You get an achievement for getting, I think it's 12 of them, 12 or 15 in a row. I find if you go on the roof, you can kind of do more tricks, just because the roof doesn't let you do the animation, so it skips them. But you have to know the tricks, and you have to be more prepared for it, which I'm not. I just thought it'd be interesting to show you. When you have that, your goal is to do as many tricks as you can, then you get a point bonus based on how many tricks you did. And it's just, you know, there's so many ways to score points, but I find the best way to do it is just grab orbs. You know, you can grab as many orbs as you can. You know, you'll end up with a good score. 99 orbs, fine. You're gonna get an A score no matter what. So trying to do other things. I mean, if you're good, do them. If you have time, do them. If you want a challenge, do them. But generally, you don't need to. And I don't know if anybody noticed, I just got an achievement there. I drove a car into a garage. That's an achievement. The car's just driving around this overhead view spot. And you get in the garage, you get an achievement. So there we go. This overhead view spot, this is one of those things I was talking about where you can go behind sometimes into the side. It's a lot trickier to find your way out because now all of a sudden you are playing in a 3D world. And this is what I feel a 3D world would be like, is you're trying to find things and you're just not right there. I'm really glad there's no up and down there. It becomes just a type of different game. But at the same time, it's just a good mix-up. But, you know, it really hurts you your first 2 or 3 times playing the stage because you don't know where to go, what to do. It's just kind of, whoa, look at this go. You know, and there again, there's a loop. Didn't have to go back and get them. But now the crunch is on. I have 20 seconds. I have to get through the whole stage. You know, I'm not going to get a high score here, but again, the goal is just get out. You know, it's not this isn't a high score run. I'm not trying to show off how good I am at Nights into Dreams. Here's me not playing it in years, and showing you here's what the game is. Now up next, this is the fish boss. This is an awesome boss. You know, you're gonna fly around, and all of a sudden, no, you're in water, and these fish are just on the outside. Your goal here is just get these red fish to shoot you at the blue fish. You get into its belly, it shoots you, and you miss. Now this boss is it can be really easy. The only hard part really is lining him up, but it can be tricky sometimes because once you miss, you gotta find out where he is. Then you gotta get on the right level, and you gotta get a fish that's like straight across from him. So I hit him down, and I went down, and I missed. So now I gotta fly back up, and I'm gonna go across, and you know that one looked like I hit him. Guess not. And we'll try it again, and that one did hit him. So now we got him down. If I could have hit him there, it would have been awesome. Not so awesome. Not so awesome. So now it's just gonna be a matter of flying around, and there's number 4. Is it number 4? Not sure if it's 3 or 4. Doesn't matter. I think next one's gonna get him though. He looks like, you know, he's a fish that's pretty much been beaten by this nighttime clown. And there we have it. That's stage 2. Clarice's stage 2. No, we do not have it. Gotta keep going. What am I doing? And now it's done. The white flash tells you it's safe. So there we have it. That's Nights into Dreams stage 2 and Yoe's history of video games. Hopefully I didn't bore you. Hopefully that was alright. Hopefully that was informative. Next time we play, it's going to be Clarice 3 and 4. And I'm not going to explain the game as much. I'm going to kind of talk more about what we have around it, and more of the things that, you know, more of the things that made Nights into Dreams a special game for me and other people that played a Sega Saturn. It was a great game. I really liked it. Those 2 stages were fun, and you know, it's just a matter of, do you want to get a high score or not? Do you want to keep playing it? It's a, you know, I'd say if you can get this, play it cheap. If you like Mario games, play it cheap. If you like this video, like or subscribe or leave a comment below. Thanks.